Okay, this is BNI Connect. It's the same as the mobile app, but it has a slightly different layout, obviously, and some different features. If you haven't got a smartphone, this is the way you can access BNI Connect. You can do it through your browser. It's not great on the mobile experience, so if you can access it on a bigger screen like a desktop, that would be better. So, just to talk you through, basically, it shows you stats to start off with. You can say thank you for business invoice by clicking this button. So it comes up with your chapter list, or if you want to search for someone from another chapter, you can do. I'll pick somebody random. You put in how much you have invoiced for, including the VAT. So it's not profit; it's revenue. You can choose whether it's new or repeat. Internal is yourself or themselves. So an internal for me would be me. If I'm giving a referral to my dad, my friend, my client, that's external. A spin-off is also known as a third tier referral, which is I've given you a deal from my friend Paul, and then Paul has then said, great job, introduces you to Peter. Peter would be a spin-off referral. You would still thank the original member because without being introduced to Paul, you would never have met Peter. So it's still a BNI referral and a spin-off, and it still goes to Apu or whoever's given you that referral. Comments, you'll see these in your app and stuff like that, so put something that reminds you why you're thanking that person. If you ever go back to check, you'll need to make sure that you've thanked them. You want to be able to easily identify that you have done. I'm not going to save it, but you would click save or save and new. Pass a referral. So if you've given someone a referral, you need to tell them about it. You need to also mark it in the system. I would say it's good practice to call them or text them as well, saying I've given you a referral in case they miss it. But put a description of what the referral is. Internal, as I said, is yourself. External is anyone else. Give them the card or told them you would call. Put the address if you want to. I normally would just put the phone number, but if someone had to do a site visit, the address might be helpful. Email address is also helpful. If the phone number can't get through, they can follow up by email. Comments, I just write a bit about it. And then tepid to hot for the referrals. So just pick one of those that you think is appropriate. If you want to do cross chapter, you can search like that. I'm not going to save it, but you would normally save it. So record a one-to-one. If you have a one-to-one with somebody, you need to tell them who you had it with, who invited it or instigated it, the location. So at the moment it would be Zoom, but another instance it might be a coffee shop or their office or whatever it is. Topics of conversation doesn't need to be War and Peace. Just put in some information about what you talked about, and then stick the date in there that you did it, and then save it. Now, if someone else has done a one-to-one and they've already set this up, you don't also need to do it. Only one of you needs to do it. Just something to know. But it is important that you register these because these will come up on your traffic lights, and it's a good way of tracking your activity. If you have a struggling BNI, you can look at your activity and say, you know what, I haven't done any one-to-ones, and that'll be the reason. I won't save it, but you should click save. CEUs, these are your either BNI University or face-to-face training. As you can see, there's podcasts and all sorts of other stuff. So if you listen to podcasts, make sure you mark it up in here. These are all the other options, but it's based on how many hours you've done. And then you can just put it in there. I don't know why there's 5 hours there when you could just put 5 in the 1 hour, but hey, there you go. You just save it once you're done. Again, it's important. It counts towards your training. The better you trained as a member, the better you'll perform most likely. Update on the progress of things received. So you can do this. I don't know anyone who does this, but you can update it and let people know that one did well, that one didn't do well. Business you've said thank you for. So this is a way of checking, did I remember to thank people? So you can run a little report. The good thing about this is that you can export it. So I use this as an export, and it comes out as a Excel 93 file or something like that. So you have to resave it as a more modern file if you want to use it most of the time. But I use this for all of my tracking. I export this every quarter, and I track who I've thanked, who I haven't thanked. I make sure I haven't forgotten anyone. and then I just see where my conversion rates are, how can I improve, what can I do better, stuff like that. So again, the referrals you've passed online, again, it can be exported. So I use this as, you know, monitoring and tracking, and export it to a spreadsheet again. The one-to-ones, same thing. You can export it or you can view it here. If you're not doing enough, you should, keep an eye on it. CEUs, again, same thing. I don't track this one myself, but you might want to. Report of referrals and progress. So as you can see, this is the follow-up status. So they're all new at the moment because I don't update it, but you could easily update things, and you'd do that here, and that would be a useful thing to do, maybe, so you know exactly what's happening, who's giving you the best referrals, who you should be spending more time with, stuff like that. And you can print the report out for the chapter meeting. This isn't as useful anymore. We used to hand out slips, paper slips, so some people used to print this out. Now we've got the app, Save Paper, we don't need to do that. You should know that you can update your photo and logo, but your BNI profile page is really important. So this will be, your company name should be set by head office. You can probably change that. I've never needed to. You probably can't change this without head office, which is your category. You can not change these things either because they're your category. Head office can if you need to. And here is where you put some information about your company. This is really important. This is what comes up on the BNI Connect search. So make sure you fill in every single bit of it that you possibly can. Highly recommend you do it. You can also show your bio to certain people. I've put it to all so that people see me in a global search. And yeah, you can change some other settings. All pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through it for every single box. When it comes to your bio, this is what's read out in your 8 minutes. So you probably want to fill that in. Save your people doing good job. Gains, which is goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. If I were you, I'd fill that in as well. That's again something that they may read out for your 8 minutes. Yeah, just fill in as much of it as you can, to be honest with you. It can never hurt, and it does come up in the searches. Here is your trainings, so you can see when was the last time you did certain training. So I find it's useful to Member Success Program, MSP. You have to do that as a new member. 100% recommend you do it as well, because it's a great bit of training to help you be good at BNI, teach you the ropes, teach you what some stuff means. And I would 100% recommend you do that once a year, because quite frankly you get to meet a load of new members who are new to BNI, so that's always useful. And it's also good to have a refresher. So you can do some searches and stuff. So here we've got United Kingdom, and we're searching through my chapter. You can't change it there. Where do I do my search? Connections, maybe. Here's to search my current connection. So if you connect with people on BNI Connect, they come up here. Never clicked on recommendations before, but you can do. Search maybe is here. Okay, so here is the search. So search members by keyword. You can click advanced search. So if I remember someone's first name, but I can't remember their last name, and maybe I know the keyword plumber, I might do a search. Maybe I can find them. Maybe I can't find them, but there we go. There's a lot of options there. So if I do need a plumber, I can quickly search on here. If I have got one in my chapter, but if I hadn't got one in my chapter, searching on here would be really, really useful. Now I can say, oh, Ben Giffin, he's in, where is he? Rocky Mountain? Where's that? Sounds like it could be America or somewhere. So here I can find some information. Alberta South, so Canada, I think. Oh, yep, Canada. I can go to his website, I can find his number, I can give him a call and say, hey Ben, I need someone in Canada. I'm in England, I can't do this, neither can the guy in my chapter, but you can. Can I recommend you? What's the best thing to do? And then, set it up as a referral in my in my app, basically. It still counts towards your stats even if they're not in your chapter, so worth doing, but also really helpful if you need a contact and you say, I absolutely don't know anyone who does that. It's a good way to find it. Well, that's BNI Connect on the desktop. I hope that helps someone.